Well, Backlash is just a few days away. WrestleMania is in the rearview mirror as we look forward to this Saturday's Backlash event. We can look ahead now to really the next big destination, which, I mean, a lot of people's minds is SummerSlam. Money in the Bank, of course, is in between. We've got some Saudi stuff that we all know and love. Saturday Night Main Events in between. It's a full schedule between now and SummerSlam. But this Saturday is the first stop on the way to SummerSlam, if you want to look at that as the next big one, from Tampa. And last night, more specifically, pushed things forward nicely. Not without its flaws, not without its head-scratching logic at times, but overall, I think it did a nice job to push the event as far as it can go for Saturday. Now, I know there's also this discussion about what is John Cena going to do. What's his big announcement? Well, we know what it's not. It's not going to be his in-ring return of any kind. That's done, over, sealed, and gone. You know he's going to be talking about the Club WWE, which is simply nothing more than another way that WWE can try to reach into your pocket and pull out more cash. That's all that is. TKO is in debt, and they are trying everything they can to squeeze as much money as they can out of you, and not just out of us, out of a lot of stars that are reportedly taking pay cuts or agreeing to pay cuts or restructuring their contracts, which is what apparently Roman Reigns has been offered, to restructure his contract. Now, what does that mean? For those that aren't familiar with what a restructuring of a contract is, say I'm offered $50 million over 5 years, and I'm getting, let's make it easy, $10 million a year for 5 years. Well, they would offer you and ask you to be a good old company guy, and you'll get paid your 50, but what we're going to do is backload it so that for the first 3 years, you get $5 million. You get $5 million a year. And then you get, so that'd be $15 million by year 3. Then in the final 2 years, you would get, $12.5 million, whatever it is, to make it up for the rest of the contract. So you would still get ultimately what you were owed, but it's going to be backloaded. And I don't know if I would agree to that. I really don't know, because if that is truly the case, and they are doing that to stars, including Roman Reigns, and they're doing that to their higher paid stars with good reason, I don't know if I would agree to that. You don't have to. You don't have to agree to the restructuring. I know I haven't seen the actual agreements. I don't know if they can even just do it without your consent, but they're asking those stars out of courtesy if they would do that. And if they say no, they'll do it anyway. I don't know the fine print. I don't know their agreements. But most restructuring that happens cannot be done without the consent of the actual employee, or in this case, the independent contractor. Now, if that's the case, boy, they are just scrapping for cash, which explains why there are 4-minute ad blocks every 10 minutes at WrestleMania, plus the $30 a month to get in the door, plus the advertisements all over the place. We all know that we've seen the trick and pony show at this point. We know what to expect from TKO. They will monetize absolutely everything and anything they can. This Club WWE is just another revenue source that they're trying to create. And so who knows what John Cena is going to be doing this Saturday? I don't know. I would imagine it's something big for SummerSlam, or I'm not sure. I really don't. It really could be anything. Speculation is the name of the game at this point. So he has a nice hook, though, for Backlash. Huge name. He's a guy that's just going to be a glorified cheerleader for WWE over the next 10 years, probably. One of the biggest stars of all time in wrestling, no doubt. But he's a glorified cheerleader. He's a cheerleader in a suit for the next decade for the company. He's Mr. Rah-Rah, company guy, Mr. Corporate. You're going to see John Cena more in a suit than any other clothing. That's it. So get used to it. But again, John Cena is going to be on the event, so that does draw, I think, a few more eyeballs. He's a needle mover, and they're trying to get as much money as they can, clearly, and they have not been ashamed of that for many, many months now. So we're going to dive into Monday Night Raw in all of its glory in a moment, but I want to welcome you to the show. And if you're new, well, go to Patreon. If you want ad-free everything, patreon.com/WWE podcast, or go to Spotify. That's a great way to go ad-free. And check us out. Give us a 5-star rating if you like us. And even if you don't, out of anger, just give us an anger 5-star rating. You're like, fuck you guys. I'm giving you 5 stars. That's the attitude you need to have. So, anyway, one more thing, one more announcement, and that is we have a new NXT show debuting tomorrow. Mario is going to be giving us his NXT analysis. He's actually got his own show. If you want to check that out, I'll give him a little plug here. It is called The SmackDown with Mario, but he will be a part of the team here moving forward. Again, I encourage you to check out his show, The SmackDown with Mario, but also check him out exclusively here for the the NXT review. That'll be tomorrow. So new voice, not just my own. New voice, new thoughts, and that's always a good thing. Let's go into Monday Night Raw here. And it was held from Omaha, Nebraska at the CHI Health Center. Roman Reigns was shown storming through the back with GM Adam Pearce trying to keep him calm. They walked onto gorilla position and Pearce got Reigns to stop and listen before telling him that Jacob wasn't there. That's when Seth Rollins showed up. Yes, Seth Rollins. Rollins told Reigns that he was in his way, and Rollins comes out. Nice tease here. Now, this didn't escalate beyond this just quick moment, but I love this stuff. Now, we've seen Roman and Seth before, many times, but it hasn't, in my mind, there has not been a proper Roman-Seth program. Somebody else always gets involved. Last year, it was CM Punk. They got involved at WrestleMania 40, but just in a cameo appearance from Seth getting in the head of Roman, bringing back the Shield music and outfit just to get his ass kicked by Roman in an instant. They never have had a proper post-Shield program. It's due. And I don't want a third party, a fourth party. I don't need any other party involved. No celebrity bullshit. Just give me Seth and Roman. There's a treasure trove of content you could pull from. There's no guarantee because, as we know, WWE or TKO, more specifically, who's now announced they're in charge of creative, which puts Triple H in a very interesting position of what the hell does he do? If TKO's actually running creative, what is Triple H's role exactly beyond just in title only being the head of creative? But in reality, it's the front office running the show. It's kind of like being a coach of a heavily analytic, hands-on ownership team. Because you're just the figurehead. You're the puppet. They just do what you say. So in other words, anybody could be in that position because you're just doing what you're told. There's no real thinking involved. There's no creativity, ingenuity, nothing. It's just, tell me what to do and I'll do it. How high do I jump? That's what it seems like is going to be happening with Triple H. So if we get on Triple H's ass about stuff, are we really going to be on Triple H? Is Triple H really the guy we should direct our frustrations with? No. The reason is, more than likely, especially if it's a very top tier story, if it's one of the main stories or a couple of main stories running through Raw and SmackDown, more than likely TKO has their fingers all over it, and Triple H is just the one who is delivering it and executing it. So, kind of a dangerous thing to do if you're TKO, because now the fans know where to direct their anger. That's at the company, which they started to do anyway once they got word that it was Ari Emanuel who started to fuck around with the celebrity involvement of Randy and Cody, which is now more to the point here, that while Seth and Roman have a treasure trove of content, that's dwarfed by the content and history of Randy Cody, and they didn't even touch it. Outside of the quick promo before the match, which was well done, but too little too late, they didn't fucking touch the incredible depth of that story, which is a shame. They relied on celebrity involvement rather than actual storytelling. That is a crime. That's not storytelling. That's quick cash grabs. That doesn't maintain and retain an audience. It's not sustain. A lot of tains. But it doesn't sustain or maintain any audience. It's just a quick, oh, wow, this person has a lot of followers. Hopefully they come and watch WrestleMania. Everybody knows what the fuck wrestling is. If they're not watching wrestling, they're not going to watch wrestling because, oh, wow, I Show Speed is in WWE. What's WWE? Everyone knows what that is. Anyway, let's continue. I just want a proper Roman Seth program. And whether it's at SummerSlam or all the way to next year's WrestleMania, this was a nice, quick, hey, we didn't forget they're on the same brand. I like it. It could be as immediate as the next program that both of them are in after Roman gets past Jacob and Seth gets past Bron Breakker. They could be the next ones up. It could very well be a, hey, we're about to go to this. Or it could be, hey, quick tease for many months down the road. Either way, you know what I want. A proper one-on-one. Don't give me the other bullshit. There's rumors of Moxley coming back, Dean Ambrose. We'll see. All right. So, boy, I've only got through the first paragraph of Raw. Not a good pace. So Seth showed up. Bron Breakker quickly attacks him from behind. And he dropped him at ringside. A bunch of people came out to try to break them up. Breakker roughed up the security guards. Rollins gets in the ring, and Breakker ran past them, and Breakker ends up, of course, spearing him because that's what he does. He just spears people, and Seth was left laying. We then got Finn Balor, footage from last week's Raw of Finn popping up backstage when and warning Roxanne Perez about the other Judgment Day members. We then get a live look into the clubhouse of the Judgment Day, and Liv spoke with Roxanne while Dom, JD, and Raquel stood by. And Morgan asked Perez what Balor was doing in the clubhouse last week and why Perez didn't tell her about it. And Roxanne said she made it clear to Balor to leave and never come back. Morgan made Perez promise she won't keep secrets from the Judgment Day family. And that was great. Nice little, I think, tease to, yes, a Roxanne Perez split. Morgan, I think, is going to turn on her. She's the manipulator. She's the straw that's stirring that whole Judgment Day drink. And she's really the lifeblood of that entire group at this point. It's not a diss on her whatsoever. You know me, I felt the Judgment Day should have dissolved years. That's not hyperbole, years ago. But Morgan is somehow still making this a thing, and I love her work. So, yeah, I'm not gonna use her as a vessel of frustration because I like her work. I just don't agree with the concept of the Judgment Day still existing. So we have Finn and JD McDonough in the match here, the opening match of Raw. The match went almost 12 minutes with JD beating Finn Balor because we had Balor, as the finish here goes, Balor backed into a corner for a shotgun dropkick. But Liv Morgan climbs the ropes and distracts the ref. Morgan tosses the ring bell to Roxanne, who hits Balor with it, and McDonough headbutts Balor before getting the victory. So McDonough gets a very rare victory. I mean, I don't know. Has McDonough won? What's his... I got to look at his win-loss record. It exists somewhere on the internet. J.D. McDonough's record has got to be like a 200 record, if we're using baseball metrics. It's got to be horrible. All right, but McDonough gets the victory. And I have no problem with that as it protects Balor. You want to see him get revenge. He's still feuding with the Judgment Day. You have Roxanne, who may or may not eventually defect. There's some stuff going on here that keeps your interest, I think, mildly at least, for the Judgment Day. All right, more hype for the Hulk Hogan documentary. I've actually been watching a bunch of stuff on the WrestleMania 18 match with Hulk Hogan and The Rock. I don't know how that's somehow been programmed into my algorithm lately. I don't know. Our algorithms are always very interesting because sometimes I feel like it reads our minds, or I feel like it hears you. It'll bring up something that I didn't even ever look at, and all of a sudden it's there. But I was talking about it maybe to like, my wife or something the day before, and then the next thing you know, it's like in my algorithm, and it's like, what? More evidence that we're either living in a simulation or our phones are listening to us, or both. But we have, let's see. I'm skimming through the entire run of Raw, courtesy of Pro Wrestling Net. Thank you to those guys over there who do a great job. We got Cole hyping Backlash for Saturday. We got a 2-hour pre-show, a video package, then recap the angle with Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns from last week. Logan Paul was in the dressing room with a vision, while Bron Breakker entertained Austin Theory by holding his nose while mocking Seth for sounding like a duck. And Paul Heyman came in and asked Breakker if Rollins was still breathing. Breakker said he was, and Logan cut it, and so Joe Hendry wouldn't be if Heyman let him get his hands on him. Heyman said that's why Theory would face Hendry instead. Heyman explained that Breakker was nearly suspended for attacking Rollins earlier. All right. We then get Penta and Javon Evans taking on Ethan Page and Rusev. A match that went almost 11 minutes. Ethan Page and Rusev get the victory after Page distracts the ref. Rusev's Uranagi slam Penta on the broadcast table, and then Rusev tosses Penta back in the ring, and that's where Ethan Page suplexed and pinned Penta. So, also a nice win here, continuing the momentum for, yes, Ethan Page, but also Rusev, who, again, just before WrestleMania, they decided to make him look like a threat and a monster, and they've continued that. They've continued it to a lesser degree, but Rusev's on a roll. That's where he needs to be. Yes, Ethan Page, he's new to the scene. He needs it too. But if you're going to utilize Rusev, who's a bona fide star, let's be real, he's not a household name by any stretch, but he's a bona fide star that can bring value to your program, and they've done almost nothing with him outside of the last month. So I don't know what this is leading to. It could be, yes, a Intercontinental Championship run for Rusev. Let's just hope that's the case. At least in my mind. So, good match. I enjoyed this. Okay, Sol Ruca was shown walking backstage while Cole hyped her contract signing segment. We then had Adam Pearce in the ring and said that he was a coach when he was a coach in NXT. His favorite days were when blue chip can't miss athletes signed Raw or SmackDown contracts. He said one of those days is today, and he set up a Sol Ruca highlight package. She made her entrance, joined Pearce in the ring, and congratulated her and handed her the contract. Ruca looked at the contract and then to the crowd while the fans chanted her name, and she said it would feel good when she signed it. Becky Lynch comes out. Lynch got in Pearce's face and said she was told that this would be her allotted time for her celebration of greatness. Pearce asked her who told her that. Lynch said it didn't matter, but it was a very reliable source. Ruca asked Lynch if she was done. Lynch said she wasn't done and boasted about being a New York Times bestseller. And Ruca said not everything is about Lynch. And she said she knows who Lynch is and what she's accomplished, but she didn't expect to find out that she's exactly what everyone says she is. Ruca said Lynch is a rude, big-headed bitch, blah, blah, blah. Okay. We then eventually get physical here, because Lynch asked who she was, and she said, "I'm Sol Ruca, and if you ever interrupt me again, not only will I kick your ass, I'll snatch your soul." Yeah, I'm sure that wasn't written down. If there's ever a line that was typed out or produced by ChatGPT or some AI system, that was one of them. I mean, it's AI all over it. And there's a lot of criticism for apparently TKO utilizing AI in storylines. I've got mixed feelings about that. I'll give you those after my thoughts on this bit of a disastrous segment here. And it's only disastrous because of the botch, and the botch was bad. So Lynch threw a punch at Ruca. She moved, hit Pearce. Lynch was apologetic. Pearce yelled that she's tired of Lynch. Pearce left the ring. Ruca stumbled when she hit the ropes for her finish, but she got the soul snatcher. Yeah. So the fans were into this, and this is the analysis by Pro Wrestling Net. It said, it's a shame that Ruca slipped. The fans were hot for the segment, but they got very quiet. Even though she made a quick recovery, Ruca will be able to look back at this and laugh one day. Yeah, that's true. It's not going to kill her career. This is the risk of live TV. This is what happens. It looked like shit. There's just been a bevy of botches by the women, though. This is a pattern now over the last several months of just some really bad stuff. And yes, even stuff that Becky Lynch has been involved in. I'm not saying this one was Becky Lynch's fault. This is not. But do you remember the one that Becky Lynch was getting her head slammed on the table? It might have been by Brie Bella. This is a few months ago. And she was getting her head slammed on the announcer's table. And it was horrific. Like, even if you're a day one NXT trainee, you'd probably sell it better than Becky Lynch did. I don't know what was wrong with her that day. You can go look at it. It's all over YouTube. It's horrible. But that's just one of a few that Becky Lynch has been involved in, and I'm not sure what the issue is there. But this one wasn't Becky's fault, admittedly. This was a slip. Happens. It just looked really bad. And it just makes you roll your eyes. And they did the best they could. Becky Lynch just fell. She threw her body to the ground. You got to try to sell it the best you can. Soul slipped. Yeah, whatever. Do I like her finish called the Soul Snatcher? I don't. It's got a cute name to it, but it's very suggestive. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm a prude. I don't want any of that in my wrestling. In this case, I like my food separated. I don't want to mix all my food together. Kind of a weird analogy, but I think it gets the point across. We all know what that is. And if you don't Google it, kids. Okay. But now that I told you not to, you're gonna, but it's highly suggestive. You snatch your soul, and I don't want to hear, oh, that's not what, okay. Well, yeah, that is. Yeah, it kind of is. That's you don't see men, any of the guys with a soul snatcher finish. That said, Sol Ruca is talented. She's very talented in the ring. I mean, she is a freak athlete, and I think she'll do very well up here on the main roster. This will be put behind her quickly, and we'll all move on. But before I go on here to the third match of the night, the AI thing in pro wrestling, my mixed feelings. I'm torn on it because AI is a tool. It's a tool that is starting to be adopted by the general public as a tool that people use not just to rewrite sentences in a professional manner so you can make yourself look smarter to your boss, which I think many, many people do, including myself. That's not the primary purpose anymore. The primary purpose is just almost as an everyday tool, as a problem solver, as a dietitian, as a doctor to diagnose any issues you have. It's a search engine with a personality that takes everything it finds and puts it into a, quote, human-like form. And I think the problem is that a lot of it is it's just not accurate with some of the stuff that spits out. Like even some current events it's not up on. It needs to, I think, really hone in on that. But the idea, though, is that AI is a tool. And they're not doing anything illegal. Now, if it is true that TKO and or WWE or both or whatever, it's kind of one and the same, are using AI to create their storylines. Half of me feels like that's lazy. There's no more human touch anymore, that you're relying on a computer with no soul to come up with things because you don't want to or you can't or both. That you lack the ability as a human being to come up with storylines that people can get emotionally attached to. So you're going to rely on a soulless algorithm to do it for you. And that's kind of how I feel about half my feelings are that. Excuse me. So the other half is thinking, well, does it really matter if the stories are really good? Are we really going to care where the actual story originated, so long as it's really well done and well told? You know what I mean? And how are you going to know which is which? They're not going to put this shit on the Unreal show, which kind of defeats the purpose of Unreal because it's all still not reality. They're only showing you what they want to show you. So they're giving you a show that's supposed to be unreal, but it's still within the realm of a TV show. So you don't know what really is, what you'd like to see is not part of the show, because they're only giving you a piece of what the curated reality is. They massage reality to give you a certain look and feel about what they want you to feel. But that's the other half of me is with AI. If the story's really good, are you going to sit there afterwards, after it's all done, and go, well, wait, this was AI? Oh, fuck that. No, you're probably not. You're going to go, all right, that was good. I really enjoyed that. You know, that's the key is, for me, at the end of the day, is it lazy and soulless to use AI as a crutch? And they will probably use it more and more, because as you use it, you suddenly find yourself using it more, so you don't have to think, which makes us all dumber inherently. So I understand that, but am I going to ultimately care as long as the story's good? Probably not. Probably not. So let me know what you guys think about the AI starting to integrate itself into pro wrestling. It's probably been there for some time, but only recently has it come out publicly that there's been some evidence that TKO has brought in AI to create their storylines. Yeah. So there's two schools of thought here. So we have Joe Hendry versus Austin Theory. Joe Hendry beats Austin Theory by DQ in 3 minutes after Hendry hits a fallaway slam. Hendry kips up, hits his spin into a pose, and then Logan Paul comes in and hits Hendry from behind for the DQ. After the match, Theory held Hendry's arms while Logan beat him down with punches, and they beat him down until the entrance music stopped him, which was the Street Profits. I mean, there's no better way to stop somebody than to just play entrance music, is there? So the Street Profits come out and dominated the tag team champs, and Breakker comes out and cleared Montez Ford from the ring, hit a bunch of suplexes on Dawkins that looked crazy. And Breakker set up for a spear, but here comes Seth Rollins, who appears at ringside, beats some sense into Breakker, and rolls him inside the ring. Rollins knocked Paul and Theory off the apron, and then clothesline Breakker. And then Rollins set up for his finish, but he had to stop when Ford returned to the ring and dove over him onto Logan and Theory, which is just really a crazy move. I mean, that's just insane. 99% of us would be dead or paralyzed if we tried that. It's just a freak move. Breakker then speared Rollins again and stood over him. And Cole said the Rollins and Breakker match will be held during the first hour, which will be simulcast on ESPN2. So what they're doing seemingly now for every PLE is giving everyone a free trial in hopes that these free trials will entice you to give more of your money to TKO, so that you go, wow, this is just a taste. Well, here's my checkbook. Does anybody have a checkbook anymore? Here's my phone. Here's my Apple Pay. I think it's more accurate, right? How much? That's what they think. And they're trying it. That's their strategy. Here's the free trial. It's like AOL back in the day. For those, I'm dating myself again. Remember when you get those CDs in the mail for AOL? It's like 30 free hours. Whatever it was, like 50 free hours. And then after those few hours, or however much it was, it'd be like, oh, okay, now you got to pay. Kind of weird analogy, but same premise. Boy, God, those days of the AOL. Remember you pick up the phone at your house and then it would kick that person offline? It's just incredible. Some of you kids who are listening, like, don't have any recollection of that. That's not a part of your childhood. But for those that grew up during the dial-up era of the internet, when it really started to grasp the culture, but it wasn't totally taken everything over yet, those were some special times. They really were. We were the first, actually, the millennial generation. We are the last generation ever in the history of humanity, forever, that will know what life was like without smartphones. Before technology took over our every move all the time, where we're just constantly staring at this glowing box everywhere. Go anywhere. Your restaurant, people with their families, heads in their phones. You go to your work, people are on their phones at their desk. You go to a store, people are using their phones to check their supermarket or their grocery list off. Anywhere, everywhere, all the time. And we are the last generation to experience life without it. And I'm glad that I'm not boasting about it, or, those that didn't experience it. I'm not saying, that you missed out, but you kind of did. Because now everything is just the phone, and it's this like box that calls you even when it's not on. It's this constant dopamine drip that apparently we all need. And yet we all deny that we're not addicted, and we all know we are. It's crazy. And I'm glad I grew up with the smartphone that was in its infancy. And really, we all had the flip phones that just had the texting. And every time you opened a text, it cost you 2 cents. Every time you sent one, it was like 5 cents. Anybody remember that? Then eventually these flip phones could take pictures, but you could only store so much before you had to get like an SD slot on some of these like LG phones. Remember the LG chocolate? Remember they had those? The Razor was huge. The Razor, oh my gosh. The original Razor, guys. The original. Non-smartphone. The video quality on these phones was just horrific when they first came out, but it was just mind-blowing that you could do it. The internet on these, like when they first came out, the internet capability on these flip phones, there were some, but it was like the baby crippled internet. It was horrible. Horrible. I would say kids these days don't know how good you have it, but I don't know if you really have it that good, because life without cell phones was just a different world. You go to, again, WWE events. What are people doing? Even during the matches, they're on their phones. Tweeting, scrolling, doom scrolling. They're not even there. You're not experiencing it anymore. You just always like, what's going on here? What's going on there? Texting, like whatever. Like, and again, I'm not saying here I'm like a holier than thou. Like, I'm guilty of some of this too. I'm not just pretending I don't do that. Well, yeah, no, I am. I'm self-aware of it. And I think many people are too, but they just don't care. It's just, we've all succumbed to this glowing, expensive box that costs us hundreds of dollars a month. Some of us, I should say, haven't even paid it off. You get a new one every year that you can't afford, but you just get one anyway. Hundreds of dollars a month if you're on a family plan on a big carrier. Plus all the stuff and shit you buy that it's on your phone that you don't need, that shows up at your door from Amazon 2 days later, and you go, I don't know if I really need that. It's crazy. All right, I'm getting into the culture stuff too much, but again, I'm guilty of this too. So some of you, you're just talking. No, I know, because I do this stuff sometimes. Okay, let's get back to Raw and we'll wrap the show up. So Breakker did spear Rollins again. Breakker looking very strong. And we then have, let's see, Oba Femi shown walking backstage. Yes, by the way, we did get some Bayley Lyra interrupting a promo of Paige and Brie coming to Raw. So there was a little bit of that. And okay, moving on. I just want to acknowledge that. I know, but I'm not getting it to every segment here. Oba Femi comes out. Crowd was into him. He said the last time he had come, the Oba Femi Open Challenge would begin. Otis and Akira Tozawa made their entrance with Maxine, and Otis stepped in. And we get a match that's under 2 minutes with Oba Femi beating Otis after a fall from grace. A nice setup, by the way. Clever setup. It's what you do with a guy the size of Otis. You got to have him set himself up sort of on the top rope, and that's when Oba Femi comes in and just picks the bones because the hard work's already done, right? But it's a safe way to do it. It's the right way to do it. Oba Femi gets the dominant victory. And crowd is really into Oba Femi. I mean, I haven't quite grasped yet why. I'm not down on Oba Femi. I'm not saying that this is just stupid. His character's horrible. No. But for me personally, it's maybe some of you feel the same way. I just don't quite feel it yet. I don't feel the, oh my God, this is going to be great. Holy crap, he's the next big thing. Like, I've been told that. I've been told with certainty that he is. I've seen people react that way. But me, myself, I have not felt that yet. So I'm not quite on that level. I'm on the optimistic level. I'm on the, hey, things look good so far. He's a big guy. I'm just not quite fully where most of the fans that support him are. I just, maybe it'll just suddenly come to me. Maybe it's because I haven't watched him in NXT. I only watched him when he really showed up to the main roster. Hence why Mario is going to be covering NXT, because I don't watch it. I don't have time. But maybe that's why. And again, I'm not down on him. I'm just mildly excited, while some people are just mega excited about him. So, but nonetheless, an impressive victory. What you want to do with Femi is keep this going. Just keep it going. Eventually, he won't have 1 minute and 50-second matches. They will have to be from opponents that can give him a challenge. And eventually he's going to have to find somebody that can actually give him a challenge. And maybe that's Gunther. Maybe that is eventually Seth Rollins. Maybe LA Knight, if he doesn't get fired. Many people are expecting LA Knight to take a big pay cut or get fired. There's been lots of rumors swirling about that. But, okay. So, Rollins was backstage, blew off a ref, saying he'd be fine. He approached Montez Ford, Angelo, and Joe Hendry. And Ford said nobody trusts Rollins, who said they're fighting for the same thing. Rollins told Ford to stay out of his way, and he'd stay out of Ford's way. We had, let's see, Io Sky and Asuka in a pre-taped interview. That was well done. I have to say, it was intense. And Sky spoke about how she still has the ultimate respect for Asuka, and Asuka said the Sky she taught was no longer in front of her, and she didn't know anyone so disrespectful, and she called Sky the biggest disappointment, and she'd be done with her at Backlash. And Sky said that she is ready for Asuka. As Asuka said, she's going to cut Sky out of her life. And then they both leaned forward. This is where, to me, it went a little like cinematic, a little produced for me. They leaned in like they were either going to do one of two things. It was either they were going to make out, because they're just leaning in, that like, and it just kind of had that vibe, or it was for just a mean face pose that they can then just transfer to WWE.com. And it was a nice little kind of homepage photo that they could use to promote the match. And it was option 3, which is Asuka used it to spray her toxic chemicals in the face of Sky. Her food coloring. So fine. That was, fine. I have no issue with this. And actually, while I'm crapping on that part of it, this was an effective segment. And this is how you get two women who can't speak English very well, or at least for long periods of time in front of an English-speaking audience. This is how you get them to be an effective segment. So I had really no issues outside of that silly face-to-face for this, and this format seems to work. So I'm looking forward to the match. More than I thought I would be. Should I go on a rant about English-speaking wrestlers? Or wrestlers that can't speak English? Should I? I know some of you out there, oh God, here comes the skip button. How about this? I'll spare you. I won't do it this week. Because they did it the right way. They utilized the tools in front of them. They did. Okay. So we then have El Grande Americano, Bruto, and Julio versus El Grande, Bravo, and Rayo. This match went 8 minutes with the original El Grande, Bruto, and Julio winning. And it happened after the top rope headbutt, and that was it, by the original Grande Americano, i.e. Chad Gable. Okay, a promo about Backlash again included a John Cena appearance again, but we don't know exactly what that's going to be outside of promoting the Club WWE new revenue stream. And also, I'm sure, I joke about this, but at some point this may happen, where we have John Cena come out as this promo man for like a new tier of ESPN Unlimited. I joked about this on X, but I was kind of half serious, where he says, and for the low, low price of $399.99 a month, you too can get a limited ad-free experience on ESPN Unlimited for all WWE PLEs, not including WrestleMania. Like we're joking about this stuff, but I don't put anything past TKO right now that will do anything and anything. Nothing's off limits. Nothing is sacred. Everything is up for monetization at all costs. I don't put anything past them. So while we joke about things that they'll monetize, don't joke. They'll find a way. Don't give them any ideas. Okay. Finishing up here. Reigns came out and he told the Omaha crowd to acknowledge him and told Fatu that it wasn't just love, that it was the sound of respect. Reigns said he was in WWE while Fatu was grinding, and Reigns said Solo Sikoa brought Fatu in, and then he brought Solo in, which means he brought in Fatu. Reigns insisted that he be shown respect, and there should be a code or an honor system amongst their family, and there should be a system of conduct that they can hang their hats on. And Reigns took issue with Fatu using the Tongan death grip. He said it's meant for 3 a.m. at a bar when you're surrounded in an 8-to-1 situation, but you don't use it on family, including the tribal chief. Well, I have to say this, Roman, I get your premise. I understand the vibe of that statement, but it's just not logical. That's not and I'm not a martial artist. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm like a double black belt or something. I'm not. But I'm fairly sure that I know enough about self-defense that you don't want to use a Tongan death grip on an 8-on-1 situation. You maybe 1-on-1, because can we not just use our brains for a second? Okay, that may be effective. Let's pretend that move is actually an effective self-defense move. Okay, while you're focusing on that one person, what do you think the other 7 are going to do when you have your back turned to them? I mean, at a bar, when everyone's drunk. I mean, I can't imagine. I'm sure they'll all stand around and go, oh my goodness. Oh my God. Is that the Tongan death grip? Well, I don't want to be next. Do you, Tommy? Jimmy? You guys? All right, let's get out of here. It's fucking stupid. Sorry, Roman. I understand the premise that it's a move that's almost kind of like unspokenly banned within your family or whatever you're trying to sell us, which I get and I'm on board with, but you could have used a different analogy. Terrible visual because it makes no sense. Okay, this is what I do. I tear shit up when it just stuff that just blatantly doesn't make sense. Sorry, Roman. Okay, so Fatu said he's desperate. He said it feels like him against the world, and he feels like his back is against the wall, and he has no choice but to take the title and everything that comes with it. He said he would put the chokehold on the game and squeeze every dollar and cent the way the company had done with their family for decades. And Fatu said he's desperate enough to do anything for his household, even if that means running through his own blood. Reigns signed the contract, and he said Fatu is worried about his household while he's worried about all the family's households. He said the company wants to do business with him. Reigns recalled telling Brock Lesnar that it's all his and that it's his ring. And Reigns said that they are aware of the same blood and are equals in the family, but Fatu is beneath him in the ring. And Fatu got up, went after Reigns with the Tongan death grip, and Reigns tossed him into a corner and then hit him with one of the office chairs, and Reigns picked it up, was about to use the belt as a weapon. Fatu cut him off with another Tongan death grip, fought him off. He went for a Superman punch, but Fatu cut him off again for a third time for the Tongan death grip. And he put Roman, or at least tried to put him through a table that didn't break. But we get the idea. And then a Fatu chant did break out. So, I mean, this is okay. And even the analysis here, this final analysis by Pro Wrestling Net, said the final segment was fine. I don't know if it was enough to win over fans who were on the fence going in, but it was a solid final push unless they do more on SmackDown. Overall, it was a pretty good Raw go-home show. Yeah, okay, it's fair. Sometimes I definitely disagree with their analysis. In this case, yeah, it was a fine go-home show. It was, and I don't think that there's really anything you could do to sell people that are on the fence about Fatu and Roman. Why? Because even if you had the best promo in the world, it may bring in a few more eyeballs, but ultimately, if you've watched wrestling for any amount of time, you know that Fatu has just a flatline, dead 0% chance of winning the belt. He could win the match. Remember that. You gotta be careful if you're betting, because you can still lose a match and retain the championship. So, those of you that bet that kind of stuff out there, careful. But in terms of the championship changing hands, more specifically, there's no chance. 0 that Fatu does, right? So there's not anybody that's on the fence. It's just, okay, let's just get through this to get to Roman's next real opponent. And they're trying to make Fatu a star in the meantime, which this is not going to be a make or break moment for Fatu. In fact, as I've said in my previous shows last week, this is not doing any favors for Fatu's babyface push, because you're going against one of the most, at least for the moment, one of the top baby faces in the company in Roman Reigns. So kind of counterproductive on that end, yet he is getting the rub by being in the ring with Roman in a main event, getting a title opportunity. So I think they're relying on that, not so much the fact and worried about the fact that he's going to be booed or the crowd's going to be mixed or whatever the case may be when it comes to supporting Fatu or supporting Roman Reigns during the match. Maybe that's just their concern, is just, let's just give him the rub. And I can respect that premise, because you're trying to build a new star, which is what this business is all about. The business is about building stars, because stars will forever and always be the lifeblood of the company. Talked about that last time in my show too, so I won't repeat it, but sometimes it bears repeating, because without wrestlers, fans aren't interested. And without fans, you don't have ratings and metrics to support all the money you're charging your sponsors and ad blocks. See how things go round and round. All right, I'll stop there. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you're new, thank you. Consider going ad-free or giving us at least a 5-star rating wherever podcasts ratings are available. I know they're available on Spotify or on Apple. But again, join us over at Spotify or rather Patreon if you want to go ad-free. Patreon.com/WWE podcast to get everything you just heard ad-free and much, much more. Again, tomorrow we will be putting out more audio. The main event review with Daniel does a great job every week, and a debut of the NXT review from Mario. So check that out. You're not going to want to miss it. Hopefully it's up by the time you listen to this. If not, it'll be later in the day on Wednesday. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Also, videos are coming for those on Patreon. Another great way to support the show and also get some exclusive video. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.